That's fast. Somebody's in the painting stream already. Oh no.
Nice.
Now I can't get over to my table because my phone charger cord is all tangled up with my headphone cord. Okay, here we are. Actually at the painting table, or the painting stream. Yeah, so what I'm working on today is I've got a TIE fighter that's been sitting in my backlog for ages that I'm finally going to put all of the finishing touches on.
So what kind of finishing touches? What's the concept for this model here?
Well, I got to finish up the rainbow colorings on the panels. I got some of the yellow on the insides is not quite all the way there. And then I've got on the black panels are going to be red and orange stripes then. And then just some little touch-ups here and there. And then this guy will finally be finished.
Yeah, it looks cool so far.
I need your vortex mixer over here to see, and it's so weird. Like normally, Army Painter paints are so ridiculously like thin, but this yellow, it comes out like a paste for whatever reason. It's
wow. Yeah, I can really see that. It's like a store craft paint almost or something. A paste, like you said.
And also, this is the thing. I don't know. Do you ever do this? I like to, when I remember, I like to, with the, like my Army Painter paints, whenever I squirt out some of the paint, I dip the cap in the paint. So that way I've got like a real quick visual reference of what like the paint actually looks like dried on something rather than just what I can kind of see through the bottle.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Pro tip.
Yeah, and I've done the same thing. I don't know if you were like with my contrast paints. I put some white like basing paste, like snow basing paste on the tops of each bottle, and then brushed a layer of the contrast paint on there. So like, you know,
yeah, that's a good idea.
So like there's the skeleton horde, you know, versus like here's what Blood Angel's red looks like actually on like some textured surface. Which it's really nice, especially for like all those bottles of brown, because like one looks exactly the same as the other when you're just looking at all those bottles of brown in a row.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, dang it. You know what? And then I went and...
Sorry, I was muted the whole time.
Were you trying to talk to us?
I was like, man, they just keep ignoring everything I say. I'm working. I said, hello, Midnight Mayhem. Welcome. Yeah.
Remember who was that? Was that with Alex? Alex Kane, was that his name? That we did the interview with, where for whatever reason he couldn't hear my audio, so I thought for like half the interview he was just ignoring everything I was saying.
I'm trying to figure out what colors to paint Barris, because some of them it looks like her main outfit is black. Some of them it looks like it's brown. Some of them looks like it's a bluish black. There's this cool 50th anniversary action figure that looks like it's inspired by the Gendy art, where she's actually in like a kind of like a fuchsia with a purple cape, which is kind of cool. But or do I paint her like Republic-y like I did Luminara? I don't know. I guess if I can find a way to avoid having to paint her cloak, that would be cool.
So it's been so long since I last touched this mini that I can't remember what color yellow I used. The first yellow I squirted onto my palette is definitely the wrong one, but now I have AP Phoenix Flames, Citadel Uriel Yellow, and both are very close. I think it was the Phoenix Flames, though.
I think I'm gonna just paint her main outfit black with some dark blue mixed in, and then maybe just highlighted blue. And then gotta figure out her skin color. I like Barris as a character, but I feel no kind of compulsion or interest in this mini right now. Like,
It's kind of a cool pose. I like her sort of sweeping cloak or whatever and kind of her lightsabers up. Better than some Shatterpoint poses, I feel like.
let's do black with some deep blue. What's the story behind this TIE fighter? Just wanted a rainbow one?
Sort of. So here is the first one in this series that's actually finished. So, if you know, you know.
Okay. I won't ask questions. It's probably gonna be some weird Leo stuff. Oh, that makes more sense now that I actually see it.
I really like that one. It's a great color palette.
Yeah, it
Good
turned
use of
out.
purple that is kind of classy looking and not really out there, you know?
Yeah, it turned out really nice. I was really happy with it. And I even like how I even like just like I did the panels are all, I mean, except for the colored stripes on the panels, like an extremely dark purple that just looks really nice with the other purples. And it's one of those,
Yeah.
it's like so dark, like you almost don't even know that it's purple until you put it next to like one of the like standard TIE fighters in my display cabinet and you realize that, oh no, that is a different color than the panels on the regular ties.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever, do you have any um, paint jobs in your collection you just absolutely regret? Like you look back at them and you're like, ooh, what was I thinking?
Um, like as far as like skill application or just like color choices?
I'm thinking more like color choices and stuff, not necessarily like like you're like, oh man, I'm so much better at painting now, like not like a skill issue necessarily, just like
Everything I paint is perfect and the best possible choice. I'm trying to think. I'd probably paint my Legion Leia different if I did it now, but I don't like look at it with disgust.
Yeah, I don't think I have any that I feel extremely strongly about, like I hate them or anything, but I do have some that I'm kind of like, oh, it didn't really turn out, or the color ideas I had didn't really work. Uh, Occasionally, I'll go in and touch up or kind of fix some old ones like that. Like my holiday special Boba Fett was like that. Um, but I don't think I've had any that I hated so much that I like completely redid them, and I've never had any that I like simple greened or whatever it's called to completely start over, anything like that.
Hello, Christian. Christian's here, but he's only half paying attention, as if this wasn't enough entertainment and stimulation for his whole night.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty offensive.
I do have one other TIE fighter that I did like a long time ago, back when I was kind of first starting out. Like Legion hadn't come out yet, so I hadn't really started painting. Um, like
Wait, you hadn't like painted much before Legion?
not much, no.
I was thought you were like a veteran of painting.
I mean, I had painted a few like miniatures for like D&D and stuff like that. Like I had repainted some Hero Clicks minis here and there, but honestly, like my X-wing stuff, started repainting with some of my first stuff, and like your Imperial Assault stuff, you had me paint up.
Oh, man, back when I was like, he's such a better painter than me, let's have him do the Imperial Assault stuff, was just like a lie. I was like, oh, I was led to believe you were just this industry veteran. Um, you did remind me though that that was like when I first started was with X-wing stuff before I started doing the Imperial Assault stuff, and there was a Tie Fighter that I think is disgusting. I took I think it was called Celia Green Shade. I think I basically just put a weird,
Okay.
gross green wash over a TIE fighter, thinking I would get this fun, like, green TIE fighter, but it was like a gross, ugly green TIE fighter.
Sounds kind of cool though.
It's not. It looks dumb. And if
I'm
you
sure
saw
I've
it, you'd
seen it
go,
back in the
wow,
day.
Joe, that sucks.
Yeah, I did one where I have a tie that I really hate, where um I painted up the I was like, I want them to be more like real solar panels, so I painted all the panels up like um back
Opry
with
or something? Or
no, I did them with bolt gun metal. Like that
mm-hmm.
was like the lead belcher before lead belt, before GW started making lead belcher.
Mm-hmm. Feel like I have an old dried up bottle of that somewhere even.
Yeah,
All
back
right.
when it used to come in the hexagon
Yeah.
bottles.
Mm-hmm.
See, look how much more industry experience you have. I never owned a hex bottle.
Yeah. Okay, so that actually was the very first stuff I ever painted, was um so I don't know if you're old enough to remember, Joe, but here in Fargo, there used to be this store called Omni.
Never heard of it. Even if I was old enough to remember, I wasn't in Fargo at the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, you weren't in Fargo at the time. So,
You weren't born yet.
yeah, it closed down before you were even born, kid. No, it's not that old. Um,
Omni's a cool store name though. Like Omni's also the name of like a classic sci-fi magazine or something. So that's what kind of store
There's
were they
a
initially? Like a hobby
there's
store?
yeah, it
a
was like a
hotel and
hobby
a resort,
store. Like they kind of had a little bit of everything. Where like,
like an
you know,
Omni store.
they had like Warhammer stuff and role playing stuff and like model train stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
um so they were just, in general, it was just kind of like a neat store. And one time we went there because I didn't even know the place existed either, because this was um I had only been living in town for a little while before college. And but yeah, one of my buddies wanted to go there for something. Actually, I think it was when the store was having like its going out of business sale, sadly. Um, but I picked up one of those Warhammer like beginner kits where it's like here's 3 Space Marines and a brush and like 4 colors of paint.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that was my first, and so I was like, this seems cool. And that was my first ever experience painting minis ever.
Want a conversation card?
Sure.
Who do you think is the MVP of the Rebel Alliance, and why?
I need a different stand here. This
The
one's all
entire
cracked.
Rebel Alliance.
Gut reaction was Chopper. Second gut reaction was Luke. Third gut reaction was R2D2. But now that I'm thinking, it's probably someone like Leia or Mon Mothma.
So Chopper, Luke, or Wedge, who has the bigger body count in the Rebel
It's going to be
Alliance?
hard to touch Luke.
Yeah, I mean, my
Well,
first thought was
Luke
Luke.
got the first Death Star, but Wedge gets the second.
Oh yeah, true. But that
I
one
mean,
was
it
at
was an
least half.
assist.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know. Do Wedge and Lando have to split it in half, or do they both get full points?
I mean, I do think Luke is a big one because, like, I don't think anyone else makes that shot. At least, on that specific day. Maybe if it happened completely different or something. But Luke made that shot that saved the Rebel Alliance, really. Now, there were a bunch of other moments that other people saved the Alliance too. I'm sure if we go into it. Again, like you said, there's like organizational infrastructure
Right, but
supply type stuff that's important, but
if we're
that's an
thinking about this
existential threat.
with MVP, like it's most valuable player, this is a sports thing. Like the whole team does a lot, but we're here to like pick out the one guy who usually probably like made
Basically
the
wins the
buzzer
game.
beater, which was
Yeah.
that's Luke at Yavin. Like Mon Mothma, she's like one of the coaches and the people who like fund the team, but so the team wouldn't exist without her. But she's not out there throwing threes or half court shots.
Yeah, the coach doesn't get to be the MVP. I declare myself the best player on the team.
All right, we had a great season. That was a hell of a game. Thanks. We made it so far. I'm giving myself MVP because we couldn't have done it without me.
Oh, damn it.
There'd be no practices without the coach, so you all would have done really bad. I'm the MVP. Once again, every year this happens. It's interesting.
This is like Elon Musk coaching his one of his XE divided by 37's little league team. Yeah. He's like, I declare myself MVP.
What was that?
But yeah, you're probably right. It's probably Luke because I mean, really, if he fucks up, the rebellion dies there.
Yeah, he might also be like the least replaceable member.
Yeah, the most
like,
kind of unique.
Everyone
skills.
else you might be able to find like a backup for.
And like honestly, not just the first Death Star, but would anyone else really have managed to kill Palpatine? Like I think he uses his power to twist anyone else. I mean, maybe Leia, given some actual Jedi training and longer time, she could have got there. But
if Luke had not turned himself into Vader, wouldn't Palpatine and Vader still have just died on the Death Star when Wedge and Lando blew it up anyways?
I mean, let's think. So, like, Luke is on the ground helping the ground battle at that point to try to take the shield down, basically.
Yeah, or he's just like so passive, like I will not fight you. He's just limp and they're like poking him. And they're like, whoa, what's going on? Like he's just not doing anything to influence anything.
See, but
I mean,
the thing is, though, at least, so it's not really, I don't think, a thing in canon, but like, at least in Legends, the Emperor did actually use like a form of battle meditation.
I knew you were gonna say this.
Like they in some of the novels they discuss how like once Palpatine dies, like everyone's at all the Imperials at Endor just sort of start to fall apart.
Yeah, that feel. I mean, I don't dislike that, but it's also just like people trying to explain like why they all of a sudden just win and the battle's over when there's still so
I
much
mean,
Imperial presence.
isn't that sort of like the essence of um everything in Star Wars? Like
Right.
the entire expanded universe exists to explain not I don't necessarily like the term plot holes, but you know what I mean.
Mhm. So
Yeah, that whole
that's
concept of the battle meditation for the Emperor is not one of my favorite
so
EU
you're basically
inventions.
saying had Luke not been there, Palpatine wouldn't have got thrown down a hole. Therefore, the Imperial fleet would never even have let the rebels inside the superstructure, or to at least get the kill shot.
Yeah, or the ground forces would have held out, possibly, and the shield wouldn't have come down.
I mean, that makes
I mean,
more sense than
arguably,
thinking that Palpatine and Vader would just sit there and then all of a sudden blow up and be like, "Oops."
arguably, I mean, maybe Palpatine's whole
His
big Death
hole,
Star,
Palpatine's hole,
his
That's what they
entire
call that thing that Vader threw him down, Palpatine's hole.
Palpatine's hole.
no one else wanted a hole there, but he demanded.
That's where he pisses.
It's too part of the bathroom.
So I'm sorry, Kurt, you were saying?
Uh, hypothetically, like if Luke wasn't gonna be there and wasn't gonna be like temptable, I feel like it's easily attributable to like a force thing that like basically the plot threads of like Luke's destiny and Palpatine's destiny and all that came together because of Luke, and like the force was gonna make it happen or something, right? Like if Luke was not gonna be at the battle or was not gonna try to fight Vader, then like I don't know, the Force moves in mysterious ways, and Palpatine would not have put his little plot together and never leaked the info in the first place, or something. Hypothetically, maybe. I mean, that's kind of conspiracy theory
Yeah,
sounding,
but I
but
mean, at the same time, that's part of the reason the rebels attack when they do is because they know that Palpatine's gonna be there. So they're like, we gotta, this is too good of a chance to pass up. To take
yeah.
down the Death Star and the Emperor in one swoop.
Speaking
And I
of
feel like it's too
Palpatine,
easy to be like, oh, if Luke had just stayed on the ground, or if he had stayed in an X-wing or something, they would have won the battle, and then it. I don't know. Feels like I don't really have a logical way for how it wouldn't work, but it feels like it just wouldn't come together the same way. Go ahead.
If
I was just going to
how about
answer the
if Luke's
question.
not there, Vader is out there fighting, uh, preventing
Well,
is
yeah,
in
that's
his
true
fighter
too.
preventing Wedge and Lando from getting to the um
That feels better.
Well, yeah, and honestly, like if you think about Palpatine's whole plan, I think he would have like tightened the noose that much faster because he spent a lot of time gloating over Luke and trying to turn Luke, right? And if he wasn't sitting there taunting Luke about his friends failing, I think they just would have like got it over with right away
Just
before
like
the rebels really had a
fucking
chance to get a good.
I
yeah.
mean, there was like all the Star Destroyers were there just to like be on standby because he wanted to put on a little bit of a show. Next question is, Darth Sidious takes you on as an apprentice. What is your Sith name? Whatever he comes up off the top. I always assume that he just made up Darth Vader just right there. He was like, oh shit, Vader.
Darth Vader. It's even in there in the delivery, the way he does
Right.
it. It sounds like he's
Darth,
like off the dome.
Darth, give me a second. Hold on. Vader. Yeah, that sounds okay. Well, would it be something
Darth
cool like
Doubtfire, right? It's like this, like looking around the room.
Vader or like Vader, Revan? There's cool ones that, and then there's slightly less cool ones like Tyrannus and Sidious that are or Maul that are like, like
A 13-year-old came up with their screen name.
Also, like Darth Maul, like that was also his name before he was a Darth too.
oh, true. Yeah, so he didn't even get a new name. They just gave him the title. Was it? Maybe he was called
Well, I guess I forget now since they've changed his origins somewhat.
his origin was Palpatine like adopted him from Mother Talzin. But I don't maybe his name always was Maul, but yeah, that's weird that he like didn't get an upgrade or a name change. They're like, Maul's actually pretty cool. You can just stick with that. It's gotta sound a little menacing.
Isn't there also like Darth Undeadu?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think that isn't that like Plagueis's master or something? Was maybe it's not a canon one anymore. I thought it was like Undeadu with a U on the end. It's like he's an undead guy basically. He's Undeadu. I mean, even Plagueis is kind of bad. Like Plague.
That one's a bit on the nose.
They're
Yeah.
all pretty on the. They're either nothing or pretty on the nose. Like I don't hate Tyrannus and Sidious, but they're on the nose.
And then you got like Darth Crate, who's just like I fucking Crate Dragons are badass. He was like the metal kid in high school who wore like the 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 dragon t-shirts and had like the claw rings that would cover your whole finger that you could find at like Hot Topic and shit.
Did he have the black like flame button up shirt, or is that a different kid?
Nah, that kid was a weeb.
Okay, magic kid. There was a kid at NUSU when I went there who always had that shirt every day, no matter what, and I don't think it was a fedora, but he had some kind of hat with like a magic card tucked in the band around it.
Hmm.
Sounds like a cool dude. Did he also?
Uh,
I bet he had a wallet chain too.
I don't remember. I just remember we never knew his name, but we called him Hat Kid.
So, where I went to school, at least one year, there was a kid who it's so funny to think about. It's real though. He wore like a I mean, the easiest way to describe it would be like a Rurouni Kenshin cosplay.
Like
Every
every
day.
day. Oh my god.
Yeah, all the time to every class. He had like the conical straw hat, he had the like robe. Um
Did he also like just like did he chew on like a piece of straw too? Like
no. But I remember, I don't know if I talked to him or if someone told me that they talked. I probably never talked to him, but I think someone I know like asked him about it. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm really into Shinto. Like, I got into this religion through anime, and it changed my life. So I wear traditional Japanese clothes." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh, all right.
On the one hand, I don't want to judge nerdy
A
weird
little better
people.
than just being like, yeah, I love Naruto or whatever.
I love
It
Naruto.
definitely
That's
looks out
why
of
I always
place on
run
a
with my
Midwest
arms
campus.
back behind me.
Yeah,
See, but like
definitely
even like
stands out.
Shinto, like people who like follow the Shinto religion. I mean, unless they're like a Shinto priest or priestess or something, I don't think that, like most people
Right.
normally go around dressed
Right.
like that,
I watched a lot of anime and learned about Shinto, so now I dress like this because it changed my life. It's like, well, I watched a lot of VeggieTales and was a Christian. I didn't like start dressing up like a priest.
It was definitely just a weeb thing that I feel like he came up with some justification for. I am
Whoa, hold
skeptical
on.
that he knew that much about real Shinto, anyways, but you know,
Do I sound better now?
yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't you guys tell me I sounded like shit? Christian had to point it
Well,
out.
I didn't think you sounded like shit, but you definitely sound better now.
Welcome to our show, Mr. Joe L from Arizona. Is this your first time calling in to the show today?
Long time, first time. Hey guys, I like painting, but my spray primer been really fuzzy and it makes me want to die. What do I do about
Ugh, that's
Buy
bad.
an airbrush.
it? I don't have the infrastructure to support an airbrush.
Do you have uh, an outlet to plug your airbrush into?
I could probably find one. The nearest one to me is all taken up. But
Congratulations, you have the infrastructure to support an airbrush.
Takes
what if?
space. You need like a hood or whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to
call it?
like fumigate
fume.
myself.
I've never
It needs
noticed
Store it
that.
I don't
somewhere.
want to. I don't want to paint everything else on my desk. I assume
You have
like
to clean
it-
it. You have
Just
to run an air compressor
don't
and
I
your neighbors
need like
hate
a
you.
little backdrop or something so I can.
I just painted a cardboard. I just airbrush into an old cardboard box.
Okay, so an outlet is
Gotta
not
store
all
that
it
somewhere.
takes. I need a cardboard box.
You don't.
Takes up space.
It, look, my airbrush compressor is this big. Okay, it's like the size of a shoebox.
Okay,
It doesn't take up that
how
much space.
long did I don't want particulates in the air because I live in a very small space. Need like a vent.
Just do it by your window and have like a box fan in the window blowing out.
That's how I used to prime minis when I lived in Fargo. I would seal off the room, open the window all the way, and put a fan blowing out of the room and spray in the room.
Yeah, see, and that kind of works, but it still doesn't take care of like the smell from.
Right. I had to leave the room alone for like hours, and then it would be freezing when I went in there.
Yeah. Whereas like here, I mean, with an airbrush, you don't have those fumes. I mean, you get like, so I always clean mine out by running some isopropyl alcohol through it at the end. So you get a little bit of like alcohol, that like isopropyl alcohol smell in the air for a little bit, but that's it.
Also, opening my window sounds like a bad idea. Like 9 months of the year.
Yeah, but you'll be blowing air out, so it's fine. So all that hot air won't be coming in.
That'll... Would you trust a droid such as IG-11 to babysit? Why or why not?
Not really. I mean, IG-11's a bounty hunting assassin droid, so
I mean,
you know who I would trust to babysit? That droid in Revenge of the Sith who goes, Ooba, Ooba.
the lacrosse droid with
Yeah.
like the
The
scoop
baby
hand.
catcher.
Yeah.
It's like a former ice cream store employee droid.
Ooba.
That's my headcanon, is that that was not like a very well off medical facility, and they're like, you've got scoop hand, go. And then she dies, and it was their fault because they're not good at medicine, and they're like, she lost the will to live.
Definitely
And
not
they're
our
like,
fault.
and then because they just buy it because, the Jedi are a little bit more mystical. And he's like, whew, avoided another malpractice suit. What color should I pick for her skin?
That's a loaded question.
Well, I'm now realizing how weak my supply of light greens are. I've got Ogren Camo, which is barely hanging on. And I've got Nurgling Green, which I think must have died years ago.
Nurgling green seems like that would
Uh,
sort of make an ugly Mary Allen. That's what
I
she
guess
is, right?
she's a little more yellow than green, actually.
Yeah, my one recommendation that I found with any of that Mirialan skin tone is less about the green you put underneath and more like what you highlight it with. That you definitely need some, not like a bright yellow highlight, but like a dark yellow highlight. I really like Valor Brown for that. And that really like cancels out the
Yeah,
green nicely while having a little bit show through still.
I'm in Clone Wars. She's like a yellow green, and a lot of these other ones, she's more yellow yellow. Man, I wish they'd do something with this character, because if you Google her, like half of the image results are dumb thumbnails of like, is the Seven Sister Barris, is uh the
Is
guy from Ahsoka Barris, is this Barris?
Maroc?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah, and given, Filoni's penchant for pulling.
well, she's out there somewhere, or maybe she died in prison. Just tell us. She seemed like a prime candidate for the Inquisitorius, although
Yeah.
um, in the Rise of the Red Blade book, the main character was the only Inquisitor who like joined willingly as the next Jedi, and the rest were like, tortured and broken into joining. Although maybe the Grand Inquisitor joined too, but yeah, the main character's like, it's weird that I'm the only one who like was cool with this, and everyone else seems to be like, they had to like break their brains and torture them to get them on board.
So what's that book about again?
Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade is about a Jedi Padawan who, she is of a species that nobody knows. Her master is sort of weird and disinterested in her, and not like a great fit. Um,
Okay.
she's not good at what they just run around and find artifacts, and they're like, hey, you need to chill out and meditate and stuff, and she's not good at that, but she's good at. And then Clone Wars break out. Her master dies at the Battle of Geonosis. She like kicks ass at the Battle of Geonosis, and is like, that felt really good, killing Geonosians. And I don't think that's a good thing, that I was like coolest I felt in a long time. Like,
Hmm.
um she finds some stuff in her master's room, because they're like, hey, she died, go clean out her stuff. Like a lightsaber that is made for her species. So she's like, well, she was keeping some kind of big secret from her. And she's basically like distrustful, and Windu and some of the other masters are like kind of keeping an eye on her because she's fucked up a mission by being too gung ho or whatever. I take her side. I don't think it was her fault. She was working with the information she had. But the Jedi are kind of like, okay, you're grounded for a bit. No more combat missions. She's not happy with it, and then basically, she's just pretty not happy with the Jedi for a while, and then gets to go on some missions again, and then Order 66 happens, and they shoot the other Jedi who was with her, and then, but instead of shooting her, they like, you come with us or you die, and she's like, I guess I'll come with you because I don't want to die, and then they like, she's just like kept in a box for. She has no idea how long until they take her out. The Inquisitor's like, "Yo, welcome to the Empire. You want to? I heard you didn't like the Jedi. You want to do this? Because now you can do stuff the Jedi weren't going to let you do." She was like, "Okay, sounds good." I liked it. It was pretty good. Interesting
So is
thing
it
was
supposed to be like a tie-in to something, or like what is just a random one-off
this
novel,
kind
or
of
what?
gives you a look at. Yeah, it's just a one-off novel. It's not a tie-in. It does tie in with the Vader comics because by the time I was getting to the end, I was like, wait a minute, I think I remember this character from the Vader comics from years ago. Because the very last chapter of the book is literally just like a novelization of one of the issues of Vader,
Hmm.
which was kind
Oh,
of
weird.
cool because I'm like, oh, I remember that. But yeah, it was sort of just a look at the Jedi and like, there's a lot of fodder for, going, hey, here's more reasons the Jedi of the Clone Wars era were bad. I did take a
Sounds like Christian's kind of book.
yeah. Let me see if I
Here's
can
more
find.
reasons why Jedi suck.
That was that one. Yeah, because a lot of the Jedi were like, we needed more information before we act, and because she, like, when she became an Inquisitor, they're like, okay, now go find these Jedi and kill them. And she finds some like a kid that she grew up with who sort of had like the better than you rich girl vibe, but like a Jedi Padawan, and then she killed that kid. And then another master who was like she was close with, and he's like, "Oh, thank God you've come to save me." And she's like, "Guess again."
LOL.
Let's see. I took this picture of the book. Um, yeah, there's a cool line where she was like yelling at the Jedi guy. She said like, entire populations died because the Jedi Order chose to wait and see. Because you sent your warriors to planets with the loudest senators instead of the loudest screams. Because you wouldn't sacrifice one to save millions. She's like, you guys you made that war happen, and I don't feel sorry for you. And then she killed. I liked it. It wasn't a top tier Star Wars book, but it was enjoyable and interesting to kind of see a different perspective and just how petty and stuff the Inquisitorius is. They all live in the same like complex.
Infighting and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean-
but they like nobody likes each other, and they're all like, I'll kill you. Don't turn you back. I'll kill you."
Well, I think we also got a good look at that. In um in Obi-Wan also. I thought like, although in the show, I guess it doesn't come off, since you don't see so many Inquisitors so much as like all the Inquisitors being petty, as it is like fifth brother's just a fucking dipshit. Or
Yeah, he's in the book too. I don't know why authors keep going back to him, but
he's the worst.
they
I liked him better
they
in
get like a
Obi-Wan
library.
than Rebels.
Really? I hate him in Obi-Wan. Oh,
It's just
you
like a
can't
weird.
do that. I'm telling mom. Like
I mean, I didn't really like him in Rebels either, but
he's better in he feels less eye rolly in Rebels, where he's like, okay, yeah, he's just a dumb brute. Whereas in Kenobi, he was like, why is this guy even so like? I don't know. He's got big tattletale energy. At the Inquisitorius, they have like a library, but like it basically first come first serve. So everyone like takes the best books for themselves because it's not like there's no like equality of knowledge. It's just like, hey, whoever can get the coolest dirty secret books first gets them. Everyone else.
But I've had that reserved for 4 months. Too late. You snooze, you lose.
Hemp rope seems to be a very good color for her skin from Army Painter. Light greeny yellow. Highlight it with some yellow. Sure how I'm gonna do her robe. Do I forget the speckles? Do I highlight it all up and then try and just
Ugh,
sponge on
sounds really
some?
hard.
With like a sponge, it would be okay, but I have a great sponge.
I mean, it could be fun to try, but I don't think you can't expect it to look like a specific way, like show accurate or anything at that point. You're just kind of, I mean, it could be fun, but
I've seen some really good ones.
yeah,
They look
yeah,
there's some extremely good ones out there. It's kind of intimidating, more so than a lot of minis, like how much work that must be. Or I don't know if people have like stencils they've been using for some of those, but
well,
kind of wild.
what about
gotta be either.
like Mother Talzin's robes? Do you think you'll do like the like dark swoop de doo colors, kind of stripes that
She
she
have a
has?
there's like I haven't looked at that. She's got patterns on hers.
Yeah, it's not like just solid red. Like she has like sort of
Oh.
like swirly dark red swirly things all over her robes.
Oh
Right?
yeah. Uh oh. And there's like swirlies and then there's like little intricate patterns.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say probably not. I do wish her mini had a sword now.
Did she use a sword in the Clone Wars at any point, or was that a completely
Yes,
new item?
it
Yeah,
looks
that
slightly more full on flame.
but
And
like
not
the
like
basic shape and stuff it was the same. Like the hilt and stuff was the same.
she fought Windu. It was the Jar Jar is requested to go to Bar Dada because he's like fuck buddies with Queen there, and people are going missing, and like she's the only person they trust, and they don't trust the Jedi. They have like their own little kind of ring of Force users there. I think they're called like the Bardotan Mystics or something. And Windu tags along. I forget why. I think he like bit the bullet for the Jedi and was like, "I'll go with Jar Jar." And they're like, "Oh, thank God he he volunteered." And then there's like some Temple of Doom stuff where there's like people in like an underground temple with like lava, like putting people in cages and like sucking their souls out, putting the souls in like a crystal ball, and they trace it back to Mother Talzin is using that crystal ball to power some sort of like array. I actually forget what the point of that was. And Mace Windu fights her, and she has like a sword made out of green flame. And then she like disapparates to get away. But then she dies in the Son of Dathomir comic. Grievous kills her. So yeah, her sword
And
is
then
from the Jar Jar episodes.
and
Yeah.
she could have come back to life again, except Ezra chopped their magic table in half and killed all the Dathomiri.
Yeah, and
Then they had to
yeah,
come
they're
up with a B
gonna.
plan. How are we gonna come back after this? Okay. I remember some people being extremely upset about that.
About Ezra cutting the table to save Kanan.
Yeah, I remember it being a whole discourse thing on Twitter where people like they've just made it so there can never be a Dathomirian character again. All Dathomiri are dead. They just killed off all of Dathomir. That was before, Jedi Fallen Order or other things that would come later. So, I mean, those people were wrong because, of course, I mean, Star Wars people are just going to do whatever they want. They can change course in any direction at any time. There isn't really anything forcing them to really honor Ezra's choice or whatever. It was just like a random moment in a random episode, but some people took it very personally, I remember.
They explicitly say this table is the last hope for our people. Because otherwise, he's just breaking a magic table.
I don't remember specifically. They convinced themselves that no magic would work after that. That's the only table, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, in that episode, they don't say that. Because I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I watched that. I don't remember them saying anything like that. So now that I'm getting it, the full pattern, I don't know how much I like it.
It seems fine. What's not to like about
I don't know.
I don't know if this is what you're going for, but it reminds me of those like vintage 80s rainbow shirts, like the specific rainbow colors you have. That's what it makes me think of, but in a way that I find charming. That's like those, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
it? One of you log into Twitter today in West Fargo? You login alert to the Jodo Twitter.
West Fargo? No, I mean unless they, you know, aren't understanding my ISP or whatever. I logged in earlier to tweet out the link to this.
It was probably that.
I mean, sometimes they think I'm in South Dakota too, so something about how Midco's things work.
Yeah, I haven't touched Twitter for anything in quite a while.
Base colors. Oh, I should have given her a beret and a baguette and a cigarette and named her Paris Offie. I'm a fool.
Just gonna have to go buy another box. So what's another? Give us another card, Joe. Joe,
You there, Joe?
he's dead. Well, that's the first for our show. First time someone's ever died live on air.
Yeah. Usually it happens like off screen, but
You know, it's weird. I love repainting TIE fighters, like of all of my X-Wing ships.
oh yeah.
Um, I've
I'm back.
welcome back. I've repainted more TIE fighters than any other ship.
Don't you have like 50?
Yeah, probably more like 30.
Did I miss something tragic? I see an F in the chat from Midnight Mayhem.
Oh, you died.
Oh.
Was our conclusion when you stopped talking.
I said I would be back in a minute.
You did not.
I didn't hear that.
I got better. You're facing a Sith with your lightsaber in hand. Which dark side warrior would you choose to duel, and why? Weird question. Are you making me
Which
assume I have the skills?
which Sith would you fight? You get to pick which Sith you're gonna fight, but you have to fight
Apparently,
one.
they're all lined up and they're like waiting for me to pick one.
Dark helmet.
Can I pick like some kind of crony? It says Sith, but you know,
Yeah, can I pick
like
dipshit seventh brother?
brother.
Huh? Or fifth brother? Whatever. Yeah, fifth brother.
Technically, they're not Sith. Inquisitors aren't Sith because of the
Uh,
rule 2.
Actually,
That's in that novel, Sidious is like kind of at her orientation or whatever. He's like walking with her in the hallway, and she's like, "Am I gonna be a Sith?" And he's like, "No, fuck no." uh, I mean, any of the Inquisitors would still kick my butt. Like, if I this question is asking me to hypothetically pick a skill set for myself. Like, oh, I'm as good as
Mhm.
Obi-Wan. Like in the novel, the fifth brother was still a hard fight for Cal Kestis. So he's pretty tough. But I guess in the show, he can.
do we know
Like,
what
he can't
difficulty
beat.
level he was playing on in the novel?
I mean, I'm gonna get killed no matter what. So I think my main concern
Make
is
it
like,
quick.
like,
Is there like a Darth fuck up that I could maybe fight, or
What about?
he's
I mean,
like the Jar Jar of the dark side?
I feel like I'd pick Vader then, because I feel like Vader's the most likely to not mess around and give me a quick death. Like I could see Dooku would probably try and like lecture me. Maul might like torture me or like draw things out. Palpatine would
but
probably electrocute me.
Asajj Ventress, if she counts,
Oh, yeah, I
might
pick
give you a little
Asajj.
kiss before you die.
Yeah, now we're talking.
You know, there's someone out there who's like, I'm gonna fight Marin. I can save her.
If you were a scoundrel in the galaxy far, far away, would you rather work as a smuggler or a bounty hunter? Why? Smuggler sounds less lethal to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it sounds
Mm,
cooler in like the, because you're like, not down with authority. Bounty hunter's technically completely legal under the Empire.
well, and during
I'm not saying bounty hunters are bootlickers, but it's not as illegal as smuggling.
yeah, they're more like morally bankrupt, even though what they're doing is more legal.
bounty hunters are like cops. They're just cops.
Yeah. they're bondsmen. They're bail bondsmen. They're like, you didn't pay your bond or whatever. It's like pretty lame.
Smugglers,
Now-
though, you could be smuggling, you know, mostly drugs, probably.
Most likely drugs. But-
so, do you want to be part of the illegal drug trade that ruins lives, or do you want to be the guy who tracks down, tortures, and/or kills the guy who defaulted on his loan?
Well, maybe if the Galactic Senate wasn't in bed with Big Pharma, they would just legalize the drugs and then
Legalize spice. I think, not to actually, but I think spice is legal for medicinal reasons if it's processed differently. Question
we have a
from
new
Midnight
topic.
Mayhem.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. Go ahead.
What one force, light or dark ability, would you be the master of? They choose telekinetics for themselves. I mean, telekinesis seems like the most useful one.
I would definitely want to be a master of you aren't, or these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Oh, mind trick?
Yeah. I mean, you get caught doing something bad, mind trick him. You don't want to do the project you've been assigned to at work, mind trick him. You just don't want to work and want people to give you money, mind trick them.
There's a lot of really useful ones that, but if I was a master of it, would require me to like change how I live. Like if I was a master at like force healing, I would feel pretty bad about just sitting in my apartment all day painting minis. I'd be like, well, I should probably help people with this.
If they pay me.
But then you'd feel good when you did help them. Assuming
Yeah, but
it's
then
not the
take
type
up a lot
of
my
healing.
time.
It would be harder when the healing hurts you, with the wound that you healed. That would be a little rough
If I
to
was
actually help that many people with. But
good at like acrobatics or combat, again, I would have to like change my lifestyle and go be some kind of activist or athlete or something.
force gamer powers.
Oh yeah. Oh,
The-
like just
the best
reflexes.
online gamer.
Yeah, whatever helps Anakin do pod racing, that for gaming. Like I have the refresh. As long as my screen has a high enough refresh rate, I can like see things before they happen. Mind trick would probably be pretty good though if you were.
Yeah, I would definitely though use it
Semi-ethical
for all like
about it.
for all like dark side uses though. Like definitely.
I mean, it's a pretty dark side power when you put a lot of thought into it, but like, no.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
depends.
it's
I mean,
I remember one time we were doing like an icebreaker thing at work, like it was like the start of a new project, and we're doing like, oh well, let's meet the team, and you know how it's always like, and then they'd be like, and tell us if you were a superhero, what would your power be? And I was all like, mine would be like mind control, that way, like I kind of have all the superpowers because it's like I need super strength, just mind control the really strong guy, and if I want to do that, and and then someone else in the chat's all like, bro, that's not a superhero, you're a supervillain.
I do think like Jedi metabolism, like the way they can kind of like meditate and not need food and stuff like that would be useful.
Oh, and
That
here
you
I
could,
thought it
like,
was going to
I
be
don't know.
like Jedi metabolism is sort of like I could enter Nathan's hot dog eating contest, eat 100 hot dogs and not gain a pound thanks to my
Yeah.
awesome Jedi metabolism.
Yeah,
'Cause-
that's what it would be for me, and that would be great. I would love to just eat as much as I want. Just
Oh,
like
you know what?
force it away.
Might make me into a vegetarian, but being able to like commune with wildlife sounds fun.
Yeah.
Unless
Or what if you could have like force plant
What if all
powers
the
to make your
animals- what
garden
if-
grow and get free food?
You know, that would actually be sort of a funny story to write. Like, you actually get that power to like speak with animals, but then it turns out like just all the animals are a bunch of fucking assholes. And
Well, I mean, that's probably the case. Like, you'd go outside, and I don't think with the Force it would be like a Doolittle style power. You know, you just can like connect with them and like make them your friend. Which, like Ezra, you know, or like taming beasts, like mostly taming them, not like speaking with them.
nah,
Because then
I
you
like
could
it.
like,
I like it better as like a D&D like speak with animals spell kind of
well, if that were the,
situation.
do animals in D&D have human level intelligence when you do that? Because wouldn't they just be
No,
like,
but people
feed me,
usually
feed
roleplay in
me,
that way
fuck me,
because
fuck me,
it's
fuck me? Like, isn't that
it's
what
funnier
animals
to
do?
roleplay like that they have something interesting to say. Otherwise, people will be like, "Well, that was a waste of a spell. Thank you." You know.
Most Knights of the Old Republic 1 mind trick dialogue options are dark side. Most are give me money, says Midnight Mayhem. That's I mean, if I could wonder what the like the range is. Can you do it through the phone? Because then you could just talk to customer support at like terrible companies that you don't feel bad about like defrauding, you know, like Walmart or Amazon or something. Like they don't need bucks I'm about to get
Yeah, that's a
by
good point.
convincing the support specialist to issue me a refund I don't deserve.
I mean, if Vader can force choke over the phone, then I think you can mind trick.
Yeah, I think it just has it just has to do with the degree that you've mastered this particular skill.
Oh, well, in this hypothetical situation, I have mastered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
I
imagine
still
like being
just
at the
make friends
Jedi
with animals.
Temple trying to explain that to the other Jedi? It's like I've spent my entire life mastering a mind trick instead of like being out there helping people.
They're like, "What? Like, are you serious? Yeah, yeah. Watch this. See, hey,
And then
hey, you stranger on the street."
and then I just mind trick the
have you
Jedi
used it
Council
on
into
me?
thinking I'm actually like way better at other stuff too.
It'd be like, "Oh, well, at least it only works on the weak-minded." So I know you've never done it to me. He's like, "Are you sure about
Yeah,
that?"
It's like,
you bet. Yeah, watch me. I'm so good. I fucking mind trick Toydarians and Huts.
Would you rather face 10 porg-size space slugs or one space slug-sized porg?
wow,
One
it's a big
space slug
porg.
sized porg.
You
Wouldn't
said
it just step on
10?
you? Yeah, 10 little worms the size of
That's
porgs
not
doesn't
that
sound too
many.
bad.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
it's not. I just want to have a porg that big. Okay, leave
Well,
me
it's
alone.
implying you must fight it.
No, no, I will. I'll go get you with your animal
Okay.
talking abilities, and you'll convince him to be my friend.
Okay.
Here's the one thing about the tiny slugs is they will grow very quickly to their full size. So then in the
Yeah.
long run it ends up being worse.
Yeah,
Think about it
because
that way.
the question didn't specify this is their final like growth stage.
Yeah.
Not tiny adults, just tiny ones, which implies they're not adults.
So
For my wash to dry.
didn't it turn out like in that? Isn't there like a from a certain point of view story about the space slug? It turns out that he's like actually like a sentient species.
In the newest one, there's one about the Sarlacc.
I swear there was one in the Empire Strikes Back one about the space slug.
There probably
Since I'm
was, but I
waiting.
forget. There was also one about the Dianoga in the first one.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my wash to dry. So
But so while he's looking, one thing, what I was gonna say earlier, Kurt, when I was talking about how I've painted up so many ties, it's funny that ties are my favorite thing to paint, but I hate doing all the panel lining stuff
Hmm.
because it's so hard to not get paint on all the like the little support beams and stuff, and then you got to go back and clean up the support beams. But then when you clean up the support beams, you get some of that color back on the solar panels. So then you clean up the solar panels, and then you.
I have found a little bit of information.
Okay.
Of course. The
Okay.
canon Wikipedia page does label them as designation sentient. Silicon-based sentient species that resided in the hollows of asteroids who prided themselves on maintaining a pleasant ecosystem within their bodies. At least
Oh,
one
wait.
such being named Psi-O lived in the Hoth asteroid belt. If we click through to Psi-O,
Yeah, it was a whole story about like, oh, I wonder if the other slugs will come and we can have a party. We've all been traveling across the galaxy for so long. It was something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't. I
it
think
said this particular slug is over 1 billion years old, which was young for an exocorth. Attempted to capture the Millennium
Yeah.
Falcon and its crew in order to make them a part of their internal ecosystem and meet the social standards of its kind by having a more diverse ecosystem.
Yeah, because like, isn't it something like? I think I remember like in the story, like he's embarrassed that he has like Minox living in him.
Yeah, there's a
Sounds
story
right.
called "This Is No Cave." It's a short story from the Empire Strikes Back certain point of view.
Yeah,
that must be it.
yeah, it's considered like extremely fashionable for a species to have other sentient beings living inside you.
I don't remember that at all, but that was a thing. There's one similar-ish about the Sarlacc in the new book, which I thought was a little weird.
I liked that one a lot.
I liked it, but I didn't like how it was talking with C-3PO
Yeah,
via
like
sign
between
language
sentences.
underground.
Yeah.
Like subterranean sign language with C-3PO makes zero sense to me. Like, even if he could feel the vibrations of C-3PO's hands underground, how does C-3PO know what it's saying? Because C-3PO is sitting there like interpreting tentacle wiggles as language.
Bro, he is
There's over 6
fluent
million forms
over,
of
yeah.
communication.
Does that include when he's
Yeah.
face down in the sand?
Apparently it does. Clearly. God dang it. Got red up there. Oh, and there too.
It had such a sad ending though,
Big
because it goes to Book of Boba Fett, where he's like, "Oh, it's that guy again. I wonder if he'll be friends this time."
Blam!
Yeah.
Well, it was in the old Tales from Jabba's Palace. I think it was Tales from Jabba's Palace where I remember, like, it's like, Boba Fett is inside the Sarlacc, and the Sarlacc is like psychically talking to him as he's as he's digesting him.
Yeah, I liked that a lot because it's like absorbed like the consciousness of like a Jedi at 8,000s of years ago or something, and it's just like, yeah, yep, with him.
Or there's the version from Robot Chicken.
That's the best version.
He just has like a lover that's a weak way that fell down, and they just like.
Well, he falls down there. It's like,
embarrassed.
whoa, Boba Fett. He's like, yep. I
I
killed
meant to.
like 99 Jedi just showed up, and I killed like 70 of them, but then they were closing in, so I said, not gonna take me, so I popped him with a thermal detonator and jumped down the hole. Like, wow, at least he didn't go out like a punk.
Yep. Doesn't he like sort of like start sobbing?
Kind of cries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh,
I like the version where he's like in there for a long time, being like psychologically tortured by it, as well as physically tortured, because it
Makes it a little more cool of a crazy way to die.
right, and
Like down in the river.
it doesn't it keeps you alive the whole time it's digesting you. So if you are a human, you're not going to die at 80 years old while you're down there. It's going to keep you alive for the 1,000 years it's digesting you, which makes more sense if it's like this psychological horror creature, like
Sort of a Borg
keeping you alive for like company. If you could visit a Star Wars filming location, where on our
Hmm.
planet would you dream of going?
I would go to the Redwood Forest. That's someplace I still want to go. Haven't been yet.
Yeah, because your other choices are like a desert, gross. Uh, Norway, or was it? Did they filmed the Hoth stuff
Iceland,
in? Was
maybe?
it
Hoth was
Iceland or
in
Norway?
Norway.
Yeah, it was
Oh
in
yeah,
Norway.
that was Norway.
And you know
Yeah.
what? I mean,
Cool.
like that's I get. Oh, actually, you know what? Going to Norway just not during the winter would be pretty cool, actually.
Right. I guess I'd pick Iceland. They filmed the start of Rogue One in Iceland,
Yeah, that'd
like
be
the
cool.
black sand. Have their little farm. Iceland, Norway. That sounds good. Going to the Redwood Forest would be good for October. We can all meet there and play some game.
That would be cool. The one thing I
uh,
heard about that is that the actual specific location that they filmed at is like a private one, or was a private one that's been like cut down since then or something. I thought is what I saw.
I remember
Maybe that's not true.
it might have been like about to be cut down when they were filming it because that's why they could blow up so many trees because they were going to
Oh
be
yeah,
gone anyways.
probably.
Wherever they filmed Naboo, I think like maybe that's Seville, Spain. That could be fun. You always see people
Oh
posting
yeah,
pictures of where Padme and Anakin and R2 are walking. First arrive in episode
yeah,
2.
that would be cool.
Um,
I would want to go to a green screen and
you go to Pinewood in London, just London. That's where most of Star
that.
Wars was filmed in London.
Yeah, it would be really cool to see like just actual props. That's really the number one thing I would want to do is like see their back room with like cool like Moncal Cruiser
Go
models and
visit
stuff.
the archives at Lucasfilm Ranch.
Yeah, supposedly people have been allowed in to see the secret filming models of the background Rebel fleet ships that are not easy to see on camera. And they're like really shitty models, but it would still be really cool to see them be like, oh, that's what that thing is. According to E.C. Henry, who supposedly got to see them, a bunch of his videos are based on like fleshing out those concepts. A bunch of those ships are
How did
like,
you get to see them?
I don't know. I don't think he explained on the channel, but he claims to have seen them, and that's where he
I
got
mean,
like a lot of
maybe
his
he's just like made
detail
friends with some of the
In
like ILM guys or
Probably.
something. They like really like his videos, so they're like, "Hey, want to come check some of this out?" And he's like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah, probably. When will our videos be that popular? But yeah, according to him, he said that like a bunch of those models, when you see them in person, it's basically like there's like no detail on it because they knew it was going to be a background ship, so they would like Sharpie on the panel lines and stuff like that. So it's like it's basically a nonsense model that you can't really make a real ship out of. But it would still be really cool to see it in person and be like, oh yeah, or even see like original A New Hope X-wings and stuff. That would be so cool. It's like one of those left or something.
here, let me look up a. Wonder if there's a list of Star Wars filming. Here's 15 worth a visit, according to
Say.
afar.com. Go to Alderaan. Okay. Alderaan is Grindelwald, Switzerland.
I would go to the volume because then you could be at any Star Wars location.
I do one when you can do all.
I guess they must have used some footage of the mountains here for Alderaan's appearance in Revenge of the Sith, which
Okay.
is like a cool place to be. Switzerland's a very pretty place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could go to the Rebel base in Guatemala.
Oh. Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool.
Mayan stuff. Okay, I was correct. Theed is the Plaza de España in Seville. Hear Tron squeaking in the background? Or is
Yes.
Discord filtering that out?
Yeah, I could hear a little.
Closed him out of the bedroom.
Be
for some
hungry?
reason. I know he's sad.
You
You could
hungry,
go
baby?
to. I don't think you should, but this says the Lars Homestead Interior on Tatooine, which is in
Tunisia?
the CD El Driss Hotel in Tunisia. I thought that place is not safe for travel these days.
Would it be worth it to show you're a true Star Wars fan? Hold on, I'm gonna go petition the U.S. government to commit some regime change, so
Why don't we
I
just
can see
annex
Star Wars.
Tunisia?
We've got more Tatooine, which is in Death Valley. No, why? Nobody needs to go to Death Valley in California.
It's at least like close enough that you could pretty easily get there, compared to
I mean,
Tunisia.
I think they filmed the Sarlacc type stuff out in Arizona. Forest Moon of Endor, Redwood Natural State. Hoth is in Finse, Norway. Kashyyyk, ooh, that's in Thailand.
Hmm.
Although the real iteration is devoid of CGI Wookiee trees and tree houses, it's easy to imagine the droid army emerging from this tranquil bay.
Going to Thailand. Where's all the giant trees? I was ripped off.
I
uh,
was told there would be Worcester.
Jeddah in Jordan. Jordan's not a place I feel like traveling to. Weird that Pasana also filmed in Jordan. JJ, pick a more interesting planet than another
I
freaking
think
desert.
did they? I think they filmed a bunch of Dune in Jordan also.
Hmm.
The
They must be friendly with like Hollywood or something. Imperial Base at Scariff is the Canary Wharf tube station in London. I've been there, but I
Oh yeah,
didn't
there's that.
know it was in the movie when I was there because I was there in 2016, a couple months before the movie came out. Although I think they had mentioned that they had filmed there because most of it's
There-
barely in the movie.
There's like a bunch of cool Andor locations in like Scotland, I think. Like the big apartment building is a real apartment building, where Cyril Karn's mom lives. And I think the giant dam from Andor is just a real dam in Scotland. Those would be really cool to see.
We've got Octo is the island off of Ireland.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be pretty great.
although I don't know if you'll be able to visit that one because didn't they have to get like some kind of like super special permission to film there?
There's,
Probably.
I think they've even since then, because I know people have been able to visit for tourist stuff, but I think it might be, hey, you can go to this other island that's similar.
Yeah, like that's why all the porgs are there is because they because that's like one of the only places some species of like puffin
Yeah.
um
It says the
Spectral puffins?
Irish government limits the number of tours and tourists that visit Skellig Michael, and the only way to access it is through 12 boat tour operators. Scariff is in the Maldives, so I guess yeah. How about I pick that? Scariff. Why didn't I think of that? Nice vacation.
Yeah. Be cool.
Crate. They filmed that in Bolivia at the Big Salt Flat.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
The Royal Palace of Naboo is in Italy, Caserta, Italy. Kind of big, churchy looking place. The Royal Palace of Caserta, just outside Naples. Interesting. Jakku in Abu Dhabi, United Arab. And if you don't like deserts, being a Star Wars tourist, not very fun. There's a Wikipedia list of Star Wars filming locations, and like an interactive map. Or Buttercup Valley in the Yuma Desert. That's where they filmed some of the Tatooine stuff. I wonder how far away that is from me. Buttercup. There's one of them in Cincinnati. That's
Cincinnati, huh?
What's in Cincinnati?
If I search for Buttercup Valley, Arizona in Google Maps, it still puts me in Nature Preserve in the middle of Cincinnati. Cool. Thanks, Google.
Oh, this Buttercup Valley place is in. Oh, crap.
Is it Yuma? You can rent ATVs and jet skis there.
Fun.
If
Oh,
I
red and
visit
yellow.
a cool Star Wars filming location, I need to reenact what's happening there. Like I need to. It needs to be like a big budget, like Mr. Beast style video. Like we're gonna reenact the Battle of Hoth in Norway.
All right, patrons, start sending your money. So Kurt can live his dream.
I
If
want
you
an actual speeder bike, and I'm
if-
gonna actually fly through the woods, the redwoods.
if you pledge at a high enough level, you can be an extra in the recreation of the Battle of Hoth.
Or we could just do that theme's operational games at all of these places. A little cheaper. You know, why don't we play Blizzard Force versus Echo Base Defenders in Norway in the winter? They filmed some Starkiller Base in Iceland. Okay, this map has like whether it was like an on location or like in a studio even. Yeah, the resistance base on Dakar was like an old abandoned RAF base and
Well, that's cool. That'd be fun.
Canary Islands, location for the planet Savarine. That must have been from Solo. That were there at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Tunisia, in different place.
I assume Kessel was completely sets, right? That's not like a real.
I'm pretty
mine
sure it
somewhere.
was. I think it was directly inspired by some real life like place in Africa or something, and they were like, "We're not going to film there because that's dangerous."
We will all get cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't. For that reason, I wouldn't want to actually visit, but like that is one of the more visually striking Star Wars locations to me.
Yeah. They filmed some stuff for Attack of the Clones in Sydney studio. Oh, this is weird. So the map, because you know the Earth is round, is a wraparound. But if you keep scrolling far enough right, it's actually not like a wraparound, but like tiled copies of the globe. Like I've zoomed out enough, and there's like 10 instances of the globe like connected to each other. I was like, where did all the little icons on the map go? It's because I scrolled too far enough right to a clean Earth without the map data.
Earth 616.
Well, the only filming locations in the United States are Arizona, Death Valley, and the Redwood Forest.
I do really want to go see Redwoods someday. We have no actual plans to do it, but it would be a really cool little trip.
Yeah, California's kind of always been on my list of, yep, don't really care if I ever go there states.
Same.
At some point,
But I'm
I gotta
going there
go to
next month.
Galaxy's
But-
Edge.
but-
So yeah, I would go for that, and then also see the Redwoods. Are you
Which
only
are
going to
nowhere-
Disneyland while you're there, or
We're also going to Universal.
I know it's like hours away, but
we're driving, which mostly a choice because it'll be easier to handle anything we buy.
yeah, for sure.
I think it's like a 7-hour drive. We're going to Galaxy's Edge and Universal. So like 2 days at Disney and 1 day at Universal.
Yeah, that sounds good. Have you been to Disney or Universal before?
Never.
Wow. So you're gonna go on Star Tours for the first time.
It's on the list. Hopefully, I'm gonna
Nice.
hopefully go on Smuggler's Run, Star Tours, and whatever the Resistance one is called.
Rise of the Resistance.
Resistance.
Rise of the Resistance is so fun. I love that ride.
Is that where you get to pilot the Falcon?
No, that's the
Smuggler's Run.
yeah. The I wonder if the Star Tours will be updated when you get by the time you get there,
I'm just hoping that
'Cause they said-
currently
because they said they were updating it with locations from Ahsoka.
currently Hera and Chopper and Ahsoka are wandering around the park only in California,
Ooh.
and I hope that's
That would be
still going
cool.
on in a month's time because who knows how like limited that may or may. The
That would be really cool.
person playing Hera will be like, "Hi," I'm like, "Get out of my face! I gotta talk to Chopper."
I hope they have some type of like effect they can do where they actually make the Chopper voice and you can like actually almost hear like there's a filter on someone's voice and you can hear
Oh.
okay, I think I can almost understand what Chopper's actually saying.
From the
probably
videos I
just, like,
saw,
canned
it
lines.
sounds like it's just canned sound effects.
Yeah, I mean that's like because I mean they do that like with the like all the stormtroopers and stuff. They have like just canned sound effects and stuff.
Do the stormtroopers have like somebody in a booth somewhere doing their speaking for them, or do they have? Because I've seen some cosplayers have like. I saw on Instagram this guy had like he's making a Boba Fett costume and he had a glove that basically different gestures triggered different.
Yeah, no,
responses.
that's kind of what
Wow.
they do. I don't know exactly how it is, if it's like a button they hit on their guns or if they have something, but yeah, it's like because they control, they can kind of say what they want to say. Like I remember like they were giving the one time we went, they like were giving my father-in-law shit about his mustache. It was
I mean, for a stormtrooper, it seems like it would probably be pretty simple to just give them a microphone
yeah.
and not need to rely on like, it's not like you go, that's not the voice of stormtrooper. It's an actor.
Yeah, it's like they did that. I think they did that more with Kylo Ren, and like he had like pre-canned lines and stuff. That
Yeah, that would make more sense.
All stormtroopers have to sound like Steve Blum or I will riot.
Rewatching Rebels, there's
He's like the voice of half of the background characters also.
Well, every
Yeah.
background character it's all just the same cast. It's Freddie Prinze Jr., Vanessa Marshall, and Steve Bloom, and like it's not hard to tell it's them. And it's like
It's a
I
little
get
harder, I think, when it's like Freddie Prinze Jr. or Vanessa
I don't know.
Marshall. But
Yeah,
like,
I never noticed that.
but like Steve
honestly.
Bloom is always Steve Bloom. Like,
I think I've got like some kind of skill where I can really pick out voice actors, but there's some. If you remember the episode where they hack Chopper, Vanessa Marshall is one of those like Imperial techs, and it just sounds so much like her. It's not like she's bad at sounding different, but that one just sounds like bored Hera. Although they did have Josh Gad in that episode, which is weird because they are usually, it seems like, so reluctant to like hire people outside of their stock cast to do other voices. What it is about Prime Job or the paint, it's going on real weird, but that's okay. I'm not too attached to this mini.
what do you paint? Oh, that's right. Are you still working on your your Barris?
See how often she even gets to the table. I haven't been playing the good guys much lately. I do want to do maybe Barris, Luminara, and then Anakin and Ahsoka, or Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. Just have 2 Padawans, 2 Masters, and some clones.
Yeah, I forget. I feel like it's been a while since I've been doing any list building, but I feel like the points don't work out on the uh Anakin, Ahsoka, Barris, Luminara one. I forget.
How would
Could be wrong though.
you? I mean, the Barris Luminara squad fits right out of the box.
Yep.
So that would leave Anakin. So you're saying that Anakin Ahsoka 501st doesn't work? Feels like somewhat
I forget.
oversight. But still, I've got the ARF troopers now, so I can always squeeze them in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think they're cheaper.
I could be wrong too.
I don't think about the points very often, so when I go to build a list, I'm always surprised when something doesn't work because it works the way you want it, like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Missed a movie night last night.
Yeah, we watched a real high quality one.
Yeah.
What?
Arena.
I don't think I know it.
Yeah, it's a really, really bad sci-fi movie from 1991.
Amazon said 91. When I went to enter it into my Letterboxd diary, it said 1989.
So it sounds like
Hmm.
it was because it was filmed and released in Italy, and then released in America like a year or two later. From what I was reading about the movie. So like 91 was like the US release.
Makes sense.
So it had Claudia Christian from Babylon 5 in it. Which and
Okay.
then I laughed then because the font for the credits was actually a font used in the Babylon 5 credits also. So that was an
Okay.
interesting coincidence. It also had Armin Shimmerman and
Oh yeah, you said that.
and what's his name? Alamo. I can't remember his first name. Who played Gul Dukat? Were both in the movie as
His
well.
first name is Texas?
Yes.
It would be really weird to see them without makeup. Did you recognize them at first, or did you already know they were in it?
So well, Armin Shimmerman actually, it's funny because I recognize him by the voice
Hmm.
because he's actually in like a full facial prosthetic again. Like he plays like this weird like rat alien called Weasel.
Okay.
Um and then Ducat was funny because he has almost the exact same haircut as Gul Dukat, and he has like a gray silver skin too.
Hmm.
Like he was supposed to be an alien, but like all they did to make him an alien was just paint his skin gray. So he still ended up looking very Cardassian ish. Plus like I mean it's just like, you know, his voice and his mannerisms and stuff. Like he was playing like a sleazy like gangster owner of a casino or something like that. So he still was playing very much like a similar character to Gul Dukat in a way, or at least like personality wise.
He's so good as Ducat. That's like
Ugh.
I think the best character on DS9.
Well, I think I'm gonna call this one done. Other than well,
Nice.
I gotta give it a quick matte coat or matte varnish, and then I will put a little bit of. I like to put just a little bit of gloss on the canopy, on the cockpit
Hmm.
windows there. Like I don't know how much it shows up on camera, like I did with this one, but you might see some of the reflections hitting it from the light. I don't know, but it's one of those things where like when you have them on the table, you don't even really notice, but I notice. I know.
Yeah, it's nice to have that little extra touch. It makes it a
You know,
little.
it's just like I spent like a ton of time painting the underside of my my A5 truck for Legion. No one
Hmm.
is ever going to know that I did any of that painting, but I know I did. So, you know, so it had to be done.
I like that TIE fighter though. Like just the base kind of light bluish color that you have over all of it, I think is cool.
Thank you. Let's see here. I think I've got the colors to start on my next one.
I'm shaking my paint right by the microphone, but I assume it's not coming through.
Not
Yeah,
really.
I tried that last time we did this because it made such a gross little noise. I wanted to share it, but it didn't work. Ferris has some sort of little wrist gauntlet, so maybe I'll leave that blank.
Hmm.
Got a little com link on it.
I need another X-Wing stand. One second.
Or how far I should highlight her main dress to look like a really, really dark blue. Highlight it too much, it might just. Need to clear coat my Ewok army now. I think that's it. I don't think I'm going to put the helmets on sticks onto the ATST.
Oh, I thought it looked good.
Yeah, they. You look at the pictures of the helmets themselves, close up. They just partially my paint job, partially the print. I just think they look real messy. I guess I could
I
put it
will
on there and remove it if I don't like it.
I'll admit the one thought that I had, I don't know, this was my natural reaction, I guess, for watching Rebels lately, but seeing the scout helmets just made me think there were like Ezra heads in there. Like a bunch of Ezras had been
That sounds like
killed by
such a
Ewoks.
like little kid thing where they like don't understand that there
Yeah.
are different characters. Like, oh my god, it's Ezra.
Let's see if I got.
Just to add a lot of kind of flavor and menace to it. It was hard to paint them the way they were printed, and like I had to like guess a lot of spots where the eyes are supposed to go, and it was just they're pretty low red, loppy stuff. What's your favorite Luke Skywalker moment?
When he throws away his lightsaber in
Yeah, for sure.
The Last Jedi.
That was my first thought too. Oh, in The Last Jedi, I was thinking Return of the Jedi. When he throws away his lightsaber in Return of the Jedi is my favorite Luke moment.
Yeah, I agree. For me, that's like the ultimate culmination of the
It's like
heart
peak,
of the series.
Yeah,
like peak Jedi stuff.
it's for sure.
And am I remembering right that his line of dialogue at that moment is "I'm a Jedi like my father before me," or is that
Yes.
technically like
Yeah,
it's at
that's
that moment?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a great line.
Yeah. He says you failed. Uh, he tells the Emperor
Your
that you
Majesty
failed.
or whatever.
Yeah.
calls him Your
Highness.
Highness. So respectful.
My liege.
Well, yeah. I mean, Owen and
I
Beru
don't.
didn't raise no
Okay, well let's
impolite little.
pick a best Luke moment from each thing that Luke appears in chronologically,
Okay.
starting with Revenge of the Sith.
My favorite part is
Probably
when he
when he
kills,
gets
when he murders his mom.
okay, solid stuff for the character for sure. Foundational to his character. I prefer when he gets handed from Obi-Wan to Owen. I don't remember what it was. Must have been some dubbed thing where he's just like, "Hey, you guys want to buy a baby? Sure."
Looks like I'm
Then we've
covering this thing
got
with Pepto Bismol.
I guess Kenobi,
Yeah,
where Luke is a
I
little punk.
I like in the final episode where he struggles to act against the backdrop of the volume. That's always a good one. Actually, like I've normally like I don't. I know like you complain about it sometimes and stuff. Normally, I don't really notice like the volume, but that bit where Reva is chasing him through like the little canyon is like I mostly really liked the Kenobi show, but that whole scene was just like bad and unnecessary, I thought.
um, then we've got Rebels, where Luke appears from a distance as he sprints.
Oh yeah. So I guess
Oh, I forgot that.
that's his best moment in that one since it's his
Yeah.
only.
Then we've got A New Hope.
Which has a lot of obviously iconic moments. I feel
Luke
like
kind of sucks in that movie in like a like, oh, like Han and Leia and everybody else are so much cooler. He's not a cool dude in that movie. A
But it
little,
makes him easier to sort of
yeah.
identify with as a
I think
protagonist.
his best. I think my favorite is just when he switches off his targeting computer. Like when I was a little kid, I loved that part of the movie. Like I just loved him switching off his computer, and then he sort of like
Luke, what's wrong? You
yeah.
switched off your
I
targeting
mean,
computer.
and it's like not a thing you really feel uh anymore, but like I remember like watching the movie as a kid, and even though you know what's gonna happen, there's still part of you who's like, is it gonna
Yeah.
work this time? Is he gonna do
Yeah.
it? You know?
Stakes are so high, the music's thrumming.
Yeah, that's probably the. I always really like when the guy's like, "Yo, this droid sucks. You want a new one?" And he's like, "No, R2's my bud."
Yeah. It's a good moment. There's a lot of
Uh,
good Luke moments in A New Hope, like Mark Hamill's kind of, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just it feels very real all the time. He feels like this young guy who's in this big adventure, and that
oh, you
feels
know what?
very real.
I like when he opens Leia's cell and he takes off his the helmet and he's all like, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you, like, and she's all like, who?
Luke Skywalker, I just said.
I'll put down a alternative to the targeting computer off, and just when he's like staring at the sunset,
Yeah, that's another good one I was gonna say.
or when he finds Aunt and Uncle
Yeah,
barbecued.
I was just gonna say that. Like he has this really great expression of like sad and angry at the same time. He kind of like balls up his fists a little bit, and he's like trying to hold on to it. Really good acting, I think. I also like genuine, I think is the word I was trying to think of earlier for his acting style. Another random moment I really like, not my favorite moment, but I really like, I think it's when they're escaping the Death Star or whatever, and him and Han are like teasing each other a little bit, where they're like, "Do you think a princess would get with a guy like me?" Or what?
And
And
he's
you
just
can tell
immediately
they
like,
both
no,
kind of,
no, no.
yeah, he's like a little jealous about it. It like it feels very real. It's just kind of funny. They're both teasing each other. I like it.
The peak, like Luke is a loser moments in that movie is definitely uh
Go to
when
Toshi
he's
Station because of power converters.
this isn't fair, or when they're in the Falcon for the first time, he goes, "What's that flashing?"
And Han just like slaps his hand away, like, don't touch that, you dumbass kid.
We don't spy our own ship for that. We don't have to take this. We don't have to listen to this guy. I also really like him like being accosted by Ponda Baba, and he just kind of like looks and like turns away, like I don't know what this guy's
So
saying. I'm just
awkward.
gonna turn away. He says he doesn't like you. Okay. It's really great.
Like he's clearly never been in a bar before, but he's like heard
Yeah.
about them.
Whoa, this place is way more serious than Tashi Station.
Yeah, remember when Boba Fett messed up all those guys at Tashi Station?
Yeah, remember when we learned that
Oh
like I
yeah.
always thought Tashi Station would be like another town. It's instead of just like a building out in the desert. But I mean, it's
Robot
accurate.
chicken.
It's the same building what was in like the deleted scenes from.
Yeah. I do love that. But I also love in Robot Chicken that it was just a strip club.
I don't remember that one. Empire Luke moments.
Oh, in the chat, Midnight Mayhem says when Luke slaps Ray on the hand for feeling the Force, that is
Oh,
really
yeah.
great. He's like tickling her. It's so good.
I could feel it. I love that part of the movie. Let's see. Empire.
I think it might just
A lot
be
of great
like
moments.
when Obi-Wan and Yoda are like, bro, just let your friends die. Like, this is just what's up. And he's like, no. And he, when he just, they're like warning him and he gets in the X-Wing anyways.
I don't
And
know.
he's just like, R2, fire up the converters.
Yeah.
I mean, I love him in the cave. Like Yoda's like, you won't need your weapons. And he kind of like looks at Yoda and just puts his belt on anyways and like, I'm gonna take my lightsaber, dude. Like, obviously. And you can tell like how demoralized he is. Really good acting from Mark Hamill, I think, for pretty much everything on Dagobah. You
That's
can
my
really tell he's in
dinner.
like a dark place.
Yeah, and he's only
A lot of
acting against puppets and that.
yeah, yeah, honestly. A lot of great Luke moments on Bespin too. I mean, I like seeing him like creep around and he's like peering around. He doesn't know what he's gonna find and like keeps getting jumped by Vader and he's like, I'm a Jedi Knight. I'm gonna kick some ass, and he just keeps getting his ass. He gets a few of those one up moments, like he jumps up and like sprays him with the smoke or whatever. But like mostly, he's just kind of getting his ass kicked, and it's like you can really tell he thinks he's the hero, and he's like, damn, this is not going well. And like all the way up to the end, like you see him at his lowest moment. He's like hanging from Bespin. He's just like, what am I gonna do? Maybe Leia will hear me until he's completely hopeless. And Lando helps him in, and he's kind of like limping in. I really like
I like when he
all
goes,
that.
Ben, why didn't you tell me? Whatever under his
Yeah,
breath.
yeah. He's like at this
Because
darkest moment, and he's just feeling betrayed by everyone.
I don't think anybody quite is on board with how he says no in that when he finds out who Papa is. I don't mind it
I
because
like
I
it.
think it's kind of more realistic
I
to
mean,
have it
it's
not sound cool, but
I like it. Yeah, it's like very raw.
better
part
than
of it
the.
is when he goes, "That's not true. That's impossible."
I wonder. I'd be curious to see how people would feel like the movie viewing climate the way it is these days if Empire came out and like people. I could just see like the whole online discourse to be like, yeah, they took our hero and then just had him. He should have been this badass and Jedi, but they just got his ass kicked and got his hand cut off and he's weak and
I think there were people that thought that at the time. I've seen some old
probably.
interviews people have found where people were like, this they changed the story. They retconned it. He's not supposed to be his dad. Why did they add that? It's not the same as the old one.
His dad was a
I'm one of the
navigator on
original
a
fans,
spice
and they
freighter.
right, yeah. Why would Ben lie to him and all this stuff? It's like they won. Why is everything going bad now? And they really missed out on something by not opening themselves up to that.
Okay.
It's like a great climax. Like he's just like so helpless. He's like crawling away on this stupid thing hanging out over the pit, and Bespin like what's he gonna do, right? He's like, there's nowhere else for me to crawl. I'm gonna crawl out there. And also he commits suicide, right? He thinks he's gonna die, I think, when he jumps in the pit. He like the way he looks, he's like, I just have to end it, basically. It's what
Yeah.
it looks like to me. He doesn't expect to
Yeah, it's
survive
like,
that, I
well,
don't think.
this is better than going with Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like some people are like, did he use the Force to like shove himself into that tunnel or whatever? But no, it's just like
The air
and
current kind of
yeah, it's
grabbed
like,
him
well,
at the right time.
it's like an exhaust pipe, and like that's what it's meant to do is suck like junk in and get it out of there.
Sucked him
He
off.
got sucked off.
Yep. Um,
I always like how just like sad Vader looks when he lets go. He's just like, oh, I really didn't expect that, and that really sucks. That ruined my day.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really great in Empire, especially moments where he's just kind of like if it were Kylo, he would be like extremely mad, but Vader, even though we know he gets mad at other times, we just see him kind of like slump his shoulders. It's like that when the Falcon gets away too. He's just kind of like,
Right.
oh, and
He's
everyone's
like
like, oh,
so
how are we not
mad.
getting
He's
choked?
just like got to go be alone. It's like worse than rage mad. He's just like
Shadows of the Empire, best Luke moments.
the best is when he talks about having particles of poop in his nose.
Okay.
I never read Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, no, there's a part where I forget he's like if they're like in a sewer or they're just in like a really like crappy
Oh,
slum
yeah.
neighborhood, and he's like sitting there like thinking about how you smell stuff by having like actual like particles of that substance in your
Mhm.
nose go up into your nose, like that's how you smell things. And he's like talking about how he really doesn't like the idea of some of the stuff he's smelling actually being up in his nose. And
You're right. I think there's like a secret sewer exit from Prince Gisor's palace or something like that.
yeah, it's been I honestly I don't think I've it's been so many years since I've read that book, but like that him talking about having poop in his nose is just one of those things that always stuck with me from the book.
I did reread it probably less than 10 years ago. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah, do we want to talk Return of the Jedi moments?
Yeah, does he do much
Obviously
cool
some
stuff
good
in there
ones.
besides like that best moment we talked about earlier?
Speeder bike chase, great
The bike
scene.
chase, yeah.
I mean,
I
I like all
love
the Jabba's palace stuff. I know other people think it's silly, but I like it.
I like the Dagobah stuff because you can compare it to Empire and just how far
Yeah,
he's come since we last saw him there.
yeah.
I
He's
I always
more mature.
enjoyed the conversation between him and Obi-Wan after Yoda dies.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually like that even more now because of the Kenobi show. But yeah, I like the he's like, yo, Obi-Wan, why you gotta play me?
I like that he like immediately senses like Obi-Wan's like, well, you know, you have a sister, Leia. Oh, yep. He could like his heart
You taste it.
really yeah.
I knew it since the first time I kissed her. Then why did you kiss her a second time?
That's a cool deleted scene where instead of kissing on Hoth, R2 like rolls in and starts walking, and with the current hindsight, like it's fun to think that R2 like knew and was like, no, 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 gotta stop this. And I wish that was in the movie.
Yeah. It's funny how much you can attribute to, or how much people like retroactively add into scenes based on
Yeah,
hindsight, like the whole
huge part of Star Wars.
like where people are like, oh, Alec Guinness was such a genius actor portraying Obi-Wan's PTSD in that just that one scene. And it's all like, no, he was just him supposed to be like reminiscing about his friend who was Luke's dad, and the old days. But you know when you like in those videos, that's the other thing is they always slow it down. Well, yeah, when you slow it down and make it look like he's moving way more slowly and stuff, it's gonna add some gravity to like his movements and look. But whatever.
Uh, Force Awakens best Luke moment.
I guess when he cries over his temple burning.
That was in Last Jedi, I think.
I mean, we see him put his hand on R2
Oh yeah,
while there's stuff burning in the background.
yeah, because Rey has like a memory flash.
Yeah. Told you. And what am I
There's
talking about here?
Yeah,
too
big
many
fan.
good Luke moments in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I'd say the
I
worst
like him
one.
drinking the milk.
Drinking the milk is good.
I
I
always
like.
I always hate that like that for so many fans it's like, Yoda being sort of like a crazy hermit who doesn't actually want to teach uh another generation. That's cool. But when Luke does it, that somehow has destroyed
Yeah.
their entire childhood.
I think there's valid. I really like Last Jedi, and I like Mark Hamill's performance in it. I think sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, God, it really sucks that Luke messed up and was just like, I'm out. And not only am I out, like Yoda's just like, I'm just gonna go be a Jedi by myself. Luke's like, I'm gonna cut myself off from the Force and like burn a tree down. Like this being a Jedi, it was the worst thing ever. Like it does like sometimes feel kind of weird, especially, if this guy
We're like
was like,
supposed to be rooting for the Jedi returning, and it's like, well, this is what they ended up doing. Not much.
right, it feels like it undercuts, his story from earlier where he revived the Jedi only to
Yeah.
just fail at it again, and not only fail but then just give up. Like I like where he goes and what he says and how he acts in that movie, and it doesn't like keep me up at night, but it, you know, obviously some people are not able to see beyond the the issues with that. But like,
Well, yeah, and
yeah,
for me, I ultimately blame JJ for that
right,
because
because he set up
Ryan
the
was,
fact that Luke wasn't there.
Well,
yeah,
I
I think
I'm not.
Ryan
I
was
wasn't
running with
gonna
it
say
and adding
that.
depth to it, but
I think. I mean, even in some ways, this was
oh,
even.
sorry, I have to let the dog out. I'll be right back.
Ooh,
I
ooh,
mean,
ooh,
even
ooh.
like in sometimes when George Lucas has talked about his sequel trilogy, he would have done. Luke was gonna be a hermit living off alone, cut off from everybody.
Yeah, it's still kind of weird just where he went. It's like it's fun to have Luke be. He doesn't have to be like Legends Luke, where he's just a god, fucking everybody, but it does feel a little weird to like just have him give up. You know what I mean? Like I think Yoda's the only one who just was like, yeah, well, I'm out, and we'll wait and see how this Luke thing turns out. Obi-Wan was a hermit with a reason.
Yeah.
I did like the stuff where Luke was like, well, you know, Jedi were the reason everything sucks. And all of his that Mark Hamill did such a good job in that movie with the just every scene he
The
was in.
him and Yoda conversation was just really good though.
Yeah. Just any scene in that movie that has Mark Hamill or Adam Driver, like just too good. But as much as I like that movie and I like Luke because it's more interesting, like I think Ryan Johnson was like, well, what's the hardest thing that could be happening to Luke right now? And it is more interesting. I think it would have been a little more satisfying if we just kind of got the Luke everyone wanted, even if that's too obvious. Or not even all wanted, but maybe just don't kill him at the end of the movie. That still hurts when you see Luke die and you're like, well, I mean, it was like the most Jedi way to go out because he like defeated an army without using a weapon, which is like really cool. But now Luke's gone, and that's sad.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as Hamill's still alive, like in the Rey movie, he can show up as a Force ghost.
Yeah.
He can be like the Professor Binns of Rey's New Academy. You know that was the ghost teacher in the Harry Potter books. He could just still be a ghost, but still
Gonna
help Rey
be
teach.
gonna be Ahsoka, Rey, Sabine, and Ezra making a new school, and like Luke's gonna be there and be like, just so jealous that they're making a school that's cool and doesn't get destroyed.
I asked you for help too, Ahsoka. My school. Yeah, I'm very, very curious what's gonna end up being the final fate of some of those characters.
Mm-hmm. Because well, they're now at a point in the they're still because with Rebels and even Clone Wars before it, everyone was like, well, Ahsoka has to die, and then she didn't, and then in Rebels, everyone's like, well, Kanan and Ezra need to die, and so it was always like, how do these characters get removed from the plot of the films so as to not like mess with that, and we still have that issue because now we're moving into the era of the sequels, and it's like, well, there were no Jedi like Ahsoka and Ezra weren't around for Rey, so where are they going to end up?
Yeah, because I mean there's some logic in it with like the Imperial era of like Ahsoka, still being on the down low for the most part.
Well, as far as
Because
I'm aware, she was stuck on Malachor for the entirety of the original trilogy, or most of it. Ugh.
I hope this keeps drying and thins out a little bit more.
Yeah, looks a little.
Huh?
Looks a little.
Wait, you don't think that's the effect I'm going for? I want. I'm going for a. Oh man, now I don't want to do this
Like,
one anymore. I just noticed. I don't know. See if I can get the like here. Look at this. Look how crooked the one panel is compared to the other one.
oh, oh, it's like it's walking. Were you going for the? Because the effect looked like it's like sort of like almost a
been
wash.
been dipped in Pepto Bismol. No, this is just
Yeah.
like a first layer, is all. Also, one of these two is actually going to end up being mostly yellow, so the pink is more of like just an undercoat for that yellow.
Just, I think my favorite Luke moment from Last Jedi is just when Kylo's like, "Are you here to save my soul?" And he's just like, "No, that ain't it, Junior." Man, and then he goes see you around, and he doesn't. Come on, JJ. that the best way to like fade away? Just go, see you around, kid. And then he doesn't see you. Which Jedi do you think is the best example of who a Jedi Knight should be?
Kanan.
I lean towards Obi-Wan just because the most Obi-Wan moments to me are just like so like when Satine dies and when Maul dies are just like the most Jedi. Like you killed Darth Maul and he was like the worst guy in your life, and you still, are just gonna hold him in your arms as he dies and like comfort him. But Luke throwing away his lightsaber is pretty peak Jedi, and the way he wins in Last Jedi.
Loden Greatstone throwing his apprentices off cliffs and out of moving planes is peak Jedi.
There's a Jedi in Phase 2 who basically has like a Captain America shield because she still has a lightsaber, but she, is like, I'm here to defend people. Like, I'm going to use this shield more often than I ever want to use my lightsaber.
You can get those at Galaxy's Edge, I have heard.
Shield?
Or maybe only at the Halcyon. Maybe that's where it was.
A lightsaber shield?
Yeah. I think it
Weird.
was
I've
on the
never seen
Halcyon.
that.
Yeah, it's like that's what A More Civilized Age said. They went like last month or whatever. Is one of the things they commented on. Like, yeah, you can get a lightsaber shield. They looked really fake and bad. Like they were not up to the standards of the normal lightsabers, build quality wise.
Where does the current question is who most exemplifies like being a Jedi Knight? Who's the best example of a Jedi Knight?
Mm-hmm.
I said Obi-Wan. Leo said Kanan. I also said Luke.
Yeah, those are all really good answers in different ways. I am feeling Kanan as a response. Since I've been watching Rebels, it's like you really see how he, even though he doubts his ability to do it, he still really keys into like the actual most important parts of being a Jedi, I feel like.
I was telling Leo, like, when I think of like the most Jedi, I think of how Obi-Wan's basically his relationship with Darth Maul. When Satine dies and he like has to like hold her and with it, and then when he kills Maul, how he like comforts him at the end, even
Cradles him
though
the
he
same way.
killed Satine and
Yeah.
Qui-Gon and was just a monster. He's like, I'm just like, wow, Obi-Wan, he's the most Jedi.
And like from a different perspective, he has a lot of the failings of the Jedi too.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the council
and he
and they sucked.
right. And I excuse him for that more than a lot of the Jedi because I feel like he was trying to do his best. He doesn't feel as cynical or nihilistic as Mace Windu comes across to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he messed up, but you also, I don't know, it doesn't feel as bad coming from him in some ways. And yeah, everything we already talked about Luke doing, I feel like embodies some of the best moments.
The way
like
he,
feeling like, oh yeah, the Jedi are someone who we do want to return.
yeah, and the way he beats the First Order in The Last Jedi is the most Jedi thing.
Yeah.
You know, he stops an army without any weapon, and really nobody got hurt.
Oh shit.
Outside of those three, I don't know that I would come up with any other really good ones.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think
I mean, like of the Clone Wars type people, I feel like Plo Koon is usually one of the better ones.
Yeah, from what little we see of him, for sure.
He's more compassionate. I think is like one of the bigger things. Like I don't
Like,
really care about Mace Windu. Like, oh, he's so great at fighting. He's killed 1 million droids or whatever. That's like not interesting to me if he's just kind of a
I
jerk.
think,
I don't feel like we see any moments where he really like connects. Do we ever see him having like an apprentice or anything that it feels like, oh yeah, he cares for anyone?
remember, he was the one who volunteered to go work with Jar Jar.
Fair.
Maybe you got to rewatch those episodes. He
Watch for the first
demonstrates
time ever, you mean?
immense patience. Because there's like a genuinely funny part where they land because they're chasing the people, and Jar Jar's like, "All right, let's go." And he's like, Windu's like, "No, we're gonna sit here, figure stuff out, and I need to like a moment." And he's meditating. He's like, "I sense a city and people." And then Jar Jar's like, "Yeah, I see all that too," because he's just looking out the window.
And one other option. I think I really like Cal Kestis. I think he's in a lot of ways a good Jedi. I mean, he's trying his best. I think he
I
doesn't
don't know if
always
I'd put
like
him at peak
succeed, but
just because of the fact that you get dark
yeah,
side powers in Survivor.
yeah. I don't think he's like the best, but I do think he's a notably good one. I feel like. And that I'm really hoping how I feel about all that really depends on what happens in the next game in a lot of ways because it's like where like I don't have much to feel about it like right now where we're kind of paused at it kind of just happened, right? Like where he develops from that
Yeah.
is kind of what's more interesting to me. I think there's some hints um at the very end of the game. You see like he doesn't really go like full dark side like you would expect from most characters. Like he doesn't really address it either, which is interesting, but it doesn't
He
feel like
sort
he's
of
like
does
all
because
in
he
on it.
says like, "I feel like I was losing myself," and Marin's like, "I'll always be here to like pull you back."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely going to be the focus of the last game. Well,
Yeah.
I'm pretty beat, so I think I'm going to sign off here.
Okay.
It's a good idea.
All right. Thanks for hanging
Thanks
out,
for
guys.
streaming, guys. It was fun.
Goodbye, everybody.